requires a more complex coordination system, therefore a more elaborate nervous what system. So you can see that as we have this coelom developed together with the organs that are embedded in it, you realize that the whole body becomes more complex. And therefore, controlling it and coordinating it may not be easier. Therefore, there was need for development of a complex nervous system. So that is those are the challenges that we have in possession of the coelom. Great. So thank you and welcome back from phylum Annelida, and now we are moving to phylum Mollusca. I don't know whether you know any of those members. I have confidence that you know at least one or two of them. Yeah, so let's observe them, and
we have to mute some of the
those are the other members. In case you know one of them, the rest are also in the same phylum, and the phylum is called Mollusca. Let's pronounce it together, phylum Mollusca. So we want to look at them. Let's start with their characteristics. One, they are triploblastic coelomates, just like the annelids. They have 3 germ layers and they have a developed coelom. They have soft bodies which are covered by a calcareous shell. The shells that are made up of calcium. Yeah, and those shells are produced by a certain tissue called the mantle. So the shells develop from the mantle. So you have seen one from the snail shell. So under that shell there is an epidermal tissue called a mantle from which the shell develops. And that shell keeps on growing as an organism also grows. Great. They have unsegmented bodies. They don't have segments in their bodies, but their head is distinguishable. You can easily tell the head from the rest of the body. Then they have a foot. Yes, they have a foot, and that one usually used ventrally located, used for locomotion. And then they have a hump, where usually the shell is attached if they have it. And then most have bilateral body symmetry. Most of them you can divide into two equal parts or two equal mirror images, but others are asymmetrical, like the snails, as we shall see. They don't have any symmetry, but most of them have the body symmetry. They show organ system grade of organization, meaning their level of organization is at organ level. They have organs. Yes, their body is soft and segmented. We said that earlier. The body is divisible into 3 regions: the head, the visceral mass, and the ventral foot. Yes, they can be found in different habitats. There are those that are found in aquatic, purely in water. You have heard of the water snails that are even edible. If you go to West Africa, it's a delicacy. And then others are terrestrial. You've seen the land snails moving around the roads and so on. The body cavity is the hemocoel, through which the blood circulates. The digestive system is well developed. If we say digestive system is well developed, it means it has all organs ranging from the mouth to the anus. And then it has the radula, which is a tongue-like structure which has some teeth in it and is used for feeding, for capturing prey and also feeding. They have a nervous system that is made up of the ganglia and the nerves. And then their respiration or gaseous exchange takes place through the tenidia.
What a throw.
And then
Yes.
their ventral foot
Mr.
is used for
Akampa with the
locomotion,
ball.
like we said before.
What?
And then they have a pair of kidneys that are not well developed, and they are called the metanephridia. Yeah, but there are 2 of them, 2 metanephridia. And then they have separate sexes, the male and the female separate. And most of them carry out internal fertilization, but there are some few that conduct external fertilization. Those are their characteristics. So let's look at the classes that are found in this phylum. We have class Gastropoda. Class Gastropoda. And these ones include the slugs and the snails. They include the slugs and the snails, and these are the most common ones in our terrestrial habitats. And these ones, their characteristics include they have a distinct head with eyes and sense tentacles. When you look at the head of the snail, you see two things on top of it, like the antenna. Those ones are called tentacles. And then the shell, when present, is single and often coiled. And we can witness this in the snails. They have coiled shells. And then they have a radula, which is a tongue-like organ, which is used for feeding, which also has some teeth in it and is used for feeding. So those are the members of phylum Mollusca. They have a distinct head. The shell is one and it is coiled, and then they have a radula. So that is how they look like. The garden snail looks like that, or slightly different depending on the species, but largely they are like that. Then those two things you are seeing on top is what we call the tentacles, are used for sensitivity. And then the other one is the slug. Slug, the difference between the two is that the slug does not have the shell. Yeah, but all of them live in terrestrial habitats. And then we can look at class Pelicopoda. Class Pelicopoda. And this one includes the mussels, the oysters, and clams. So those are the members of the class Pelicopoda. So what are the characteristics of the members of this class Pelicopoda? They don't have tentacles. Those things you saw on top of the snail's head that are used for sensitivity are not there in these members of Pelicopoda. No tentacles. Their head is also small and reduced. And then the shells have two halves. Mhm. They have two halves, meaning one shell is divided into two equal halves. And then most of them are filter feeders, meaning they obtain their food from water. Yeah, they get their food by grabbing or absorbing particles within the water. So we can see some of them there. You can see the oyster, the mussels, and then the clams. That's how they look like. You can see the clam. You can see their shells are usually there is one shell but has two halves, and that's how they look like. Some of them are edible and they are eaten where they are. So another class there is class Cephalopoda. Class Cephalopoda. Cephalopoda. The members are called cephalopods, and these ones include the much more developed and more cephalized members of phylum Mollusca. And their foot has developed into a set of arms called tentacles. So instead of having the ventral foot like it is in snails, they have developed arms, which are tentacles, very long. And they use them usually for capturing the prey or for defense. Their body is symmetrical. They have symmetry depending on the number of tentacles they have. And then their left and the right sides are usually identical. Most of the cephalopods rely on their well-developed vision to detect their prey or potential enemies. They are even able to detect the polarization of light. Surprisingly, some of them are colorblind. Some of them are colorblind, even if many of them have the ability to change colors according to the surrounding. Imagine yourself being able to change colors, but you cannot detect the colors you have changed. That is surprising. Yes, but these members, like the octopus, can change colors. Some species of the octopus can change colors depending on where they are located to camouflage or to mimic the environment so that they cannot be identified by the the predators or even the prey. Cephalopods are regarded as most intelligent vertebrates. They are very intelligent, meaning they have a high development of the brain. And the brain is large compared to the body size, and the nervous system is very complex. Remember, some of them can even be kept as pets. You remember in 2006 World Cup in Germany, there was an octopus that was used to predict matches. Yeah, to tell which team would win. And it predicted most of the matches. So that was surprising. Well, however, it's not one of the characteristics here, but I think it depicts the fact that they are highly cephalized. They are highly cephalized. So let's look at the members there. We can see the octopus, we can see the squids. The squid is one of the fastest aquatic organisms. The squid is one of the fastest aquatic organisms. Actually, it is the fastest invertebrate. It is in water. It is it's an excellent swimmer. And then the octopus there. And then, well, those are the members of phylum Mollusca. We have the gastropods, the pelycopods, and the cephalopods. My prayer is that you manage to differentiate them, because that is the major aim of this lesson, for you to be able to identify these different organisms and also give their characteristic. So let's move to another phylum, phylum Echinodermata. Phylum Echinodermata. That word stands for spiny skin. As you can see there, you can see the sea urchins there with very beautiful spines on their skins. And then you can also see there the starfish and other members of phylum Echinodermata. So the examples include the sea cucumbers. Probably you must have eaten the garden cucumber. Yes, bought from the market and ate it. Well, there is another echinodon that looks like that. It's actually, though it has, it's an animal, it's not a seed. It has spines on its body. It has the same shape like the cucumbers in the market. The others called the sea lilies, the brittle stars, the sea urchins, and the starfish. Those are the members of phylum Echinodermata. So we have there the beautiful starfish. Why is it called the starfish? It has the shape of a star. And then we have the sea cucumber there, and then the sea urchins. So looking at the structure of one of them, the common one, the starfish, you are able to see the anus there on top, and then the madrioporite, which is used to equalize the water pressure in the water vascular system of these members. It is where water passes and comes out to equalize the water pressure inside. Then it has the spines there, which is a distinguishing characteristic of this phylum. Having spines on the skin is what we call Echinodermata. Then it has those arms, and then the feet there, you can see. The mouth is usually below, and then the anus is on top. So that is how you can look at them. The anus is located on top, and then the mouth is below, is ventrally located. Characteristics. Their skin bears spines, hence the name of the phylum. Echinodermata is spiny skin. So by the mere mentioning of the name Echinodermata, it means the skin is spined. Then adults show the pentaradiate symmetry. It means it can be divided into 5 equal parts. Yes, you can divide, for example, the starfish into 5 equal arms. That's what we call pentaradiate symmetry. The mouth generally occurs on the lower side, the oral side, while the anus occurs up. It's called the littoral, not littoral, littoral side, or the arboral side. Sorry, the littoral side or the arboral, yeah, arboral side. They lack proper circulatory system. They don't have a proper circulatory system, but they have a water vascular system. And then they are exclusively marine inhabitants, meaning they live most of their time, or most of the members are usually found in marine habitats, in salty water. They have a calcareous skeleton made up of calcium spines or calcium-made structures. They move slowly by concerted action of numerous suctoral tube feet. So they have those tube feet we saw earlier. That's how they move. Other facts about them: the echinoderms don't have blood. Did you know that? They have a water vascular system. Echinoderms have tiny feet all over their arms, as we saw earlier. Echinoderms are predators. Did you know that? The sisters have eyes, or at least eye spots that they use for sensing, especially detecting of light. Did you know that if you put a sea cucumber in fresh water, it can explode? Yes. And why is it so? Because it does not have the capacity of eliminating excess water. It doesn't have that adaptation. Because it is living in salty water, yeah, it has the capacity of only eliminating excess salts from the body. So the cells will absorb a lot of water and it will burst. The sea cucumbers can puke their guts out literally. So they can remove their guts out of the whole body during some circumstances, especially during danger. They can do that. And then the sea urchins are eaten by some people. Did you know that? That sea urchins can be a serious delicacy. Probably one of these days in the future, you need to travel around the world and look for where they eat the sea urchins, and then you test and see how these members can taste. Yeah, you never know, it can be a serious delicacy. Yeah, meanwhile, we want to thank you very much for being very good listeners, and I want to meet you in the next lesson, that is lesson 9. But the assignment for now is for you to be able to identify, to summarize, summarize all the phyla we have looked at: phylum Echinodermata, phylum Mollusca, and phylum Annelida. Identify the organisms and give the characteristics of these organisms, and then also identify them. That would be great. Thank you very much and stay safe.
All these soil samples, we carried out different experiments, the same experiment, but we carried out the same procedures, and we came up with the results here. But before continuing, let's first talk about what pH is and what we mean when you talk about the pH of the soil.